Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jay Yang, CEO of Tacen and Chief Architect of Project TXA. So, as you guys are aware, we launched this project a while ago. We did quite a campaign in terms of describing and explaining what the actual services do and how things are hooked up together, why we're building the decentralized settlement layer and all of that stuff. So this is sort of like a culmination of that work, and now we have a working alpha, which is running on a private instance of a blockchain for now, and then we're going to be releasing a closed alpha, and then the closed alpha that's going to be accessible by a lot of people. So it's actually going to have endpoint exchange dot whatever, and then we're going to kind of talk about like what's ahead. All right, so pretty straightforward user interface. You'll see that the order book has already been populated. Yes, I understand the current ETH price is higher than this. But it doesn't matter. This is demo. First thing you'll notice is that if I weren't connected, a lot of these things won't even show up. Yeah, clearly this is fake money. So if I go to assets, first thing you'll see is that there are different screens representing same information in a different way. And the reason why we opted to do that is because users have you as a user, you're not really signing up for anything. There's no account creation, nothing. And because there is no account creation, what we have to do is connect your wallet and then get your information from the blockchain, and then determine also what balances are available and ready to be traded. So you as a first time user would of course connect, so let's just start from the beginning. I'm going to disconnect. Once I connect, it's going to pull up all of my information, relevant information about orders that I submitted before. Now this is details specific to the exchange, not the settlement layer, but we'll go over those as well later. So when you first land on, I have lots of fake money, and there are different ways to deposit. I can deposit from here, and it'll say HTX won't ever hold your funds. So what's actually going to happen is you're going to be prompted to deposit asset into the asset custody contract. So this is a normal flow. You've seen this sort of interaction model before. Now the asset custody contract is going to be so watch this number. Asset custody contract is going to be deployed once and non-upgradable, so that you can be sure that what's happening with what's already audited in the contract is not something that you expect to change. Meaning if we can change the rules on the fly, then that's probably not a good model, right? Now the exchange is loading, like the endpoints are loading a little slow, but that's because it's demo. Okay, so let's get started on that. The second thing is that you can continue to deposit more, whether it's USDT or whatever it is. Okay, and it has an additional step involved in deposits. That's not the wallet. I think it's this one. Okay. Right, okay, deposit confirmed. Great. So yeah, again, apologies, it's in a rough shape, but at least like everything works. Like we have historical data with bars and everything. So like simple things, like I've asked my colleague to populate the order book so we can just start chipping away at it. So let's say I want to buy, I don't know, 0.22 ETH. you should be eating away like the first, top 2 ones, right? And if it doesn't work, then it's probably because like I didn't reset the wallet. So new and filled. Okay, so there you go. It did 3 trades. 0.1, 0.1, and the 0.02. Perfect. Yeah. So we're working on better like user experience as well. So when we have an open endpoint, we're gonna do a we're gonna ask the users to give us feedback. Okay, so yeah, let's do the other side. You know what? 0. Whatever, right? Some random amount. Then it's going to eat away at these things on the order book. So yeah. So I mean, like, this is a lot slower than what actually will happen. So like what's going to happen is when you submit an order, there's a network latency that contributes to this unfortunately. So it's probably my internet plus whatever else is going on. But we are in the process of like very rigorously benchmarking this, and we've done benchmarking before on a more controlled environment, and that's a little bit faster. I'm not gonna say like like some people like, hey, like 1 million transactions per second. That would be silly, right? So market order works. Okay, does limit order work? Yeah, exactly. So let's get it working. So let's see if we can do like, I mean, because like this is important. I mean, I know you guys are rolling your eyes right now. Like, why is this guy doing this? Because like, people always say, oh, it's like vaporware, it's scam or whatever. So like I don't, I want to be like absolutely clear that's not the case. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna send like limit order up to 1352, I don't know, 95 or something like that. 1352 90 or whatever. And then let's buy like a small amount up to that point, or like I can just put larger amount but it'll fill. So I'm just gonna put a small amount, and then just get it all going. So I don't know, 0.2, and you'll see it marching up. Oh, it failed. Oh, 30. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, again, this is glacially slow compared to what it actually ought to be. So a lot of these messages are going through like a message queue that we're using, Kafka, and then that needs to be kind of, reconfigured. Okay, so that works, and then let's just do the other end, 1350, 0.22, whatever. But if I do that, it's going to leave order, and then it's just going to be, I just want to make sure that I go all the way down here. So I'm going to do 3, and then, what is it? What am I doing? Oh, sorry, yeah. 1350, and then 0. I don't know, yeah, 3. So let's do that. Okay, so then it's gonna get filled. I mean, it's I don't know, it's like backend acting like really giving me a problem. Slow is speed wise, but so again, we'll do a stress test. We'll make sure that these things are a lot faster. My Wi-Fi is not as good as it ought to be. I'm blaming it entirely on that. Okay, cool. So let's kind of explore what's actually there in the assets screen. So like this is your like dashboard on how much money you have, what's actually expected to be there in the deposited balance that it allows you to trade. How much is it in order, and then wallet balance as in different assets that you have. So what we hope to add in the next a couple days and maybe a couple weeks is different wallets for different chains as well. So I mean, you'll notice that, okay, well, if you're saying we're gonna do cross-chain settlement, then do I have to keep changing wallet? Do I have to keep like switching wallets back and forth in order to submit an order? We find that user experience very bad for a couple reasons. So if I were to go to, trade and number one information that I want to see is every asset, right? Not just the asset on Ethereum network. And so the user experience that you're going to have is you still need to use your like different wallets once to sign like a delegated rights to a single wallet. So it's going to be like a master signing wallet. And so like, for example, if you want to just use MetaMask with Ethereum as your primary network, primary signing identity, then what you do, but you still want to trade like Matic, right? So then what you would do is you would connect your Matic wallet, you would connect Ethereum, change the network to Matic, and then you would just do one call to the Polygon blockchain that will add a delegation record about, oh yeah, by the way, I want that wallet on the Ethereum network to sign for me for off-chain orders or something like that. That way you only have to connect one wallet and then you can just submit orders, and which also gives the exchange a way to give you a paginated result of all of the assets in different networks as well, because we the total balance on this, we actually do make a direct call to the chain to do to read what the values are. So that's why it's necessary to do that. I mean, there are some like magic behind the scene here where the updated amount is coming from the exchange, and so on and so forth. Now, it's important to understand that the exchange and the settlement network is not the same thing, because exchange is built on top of the settlement layer. So having gone through some of those things, and of course, like at launch, there's going to be a few more order types like stops and trailing stops. And then if we go to a wallet menu, it tells you like what kind of different wallets we have, whether it's a master wallet or subsidiary wallet, and then it'll tell you also things like here are different orders that's been submitted and executed, here are different trades, and so on and so forth. We'll have more stuff coming up that'll just make this a more useful trading terminal, right? So you'll have like all the normal expectation stuff. I made it very clear to my UX team that I want to be able to just change this while looking at different charts. So rather than like in a KuCoin or Binance or whatever, when you change the context of the token, like everything changes. That's not what we want. I mean, you can set it up so that you can do that, but what I want to be able to do is look at the chart on one asset, look at the trades in that asset, but be able to submit an order in different asset. That's why there's an input screen here. Anyways, okay, so let's kind of jump into it. So what's on the other side, right? When you when you want to withdraw, and you go to assets screen and then withdraw, like what should actually happen? What should actually happen is you're making a call on the blockchain to start the process of what's called a coordinated settlement. By the way, before we proceed, I just want to show you like, yeah, the aggregation thing works, and all that. Okay, so when you start the process of coordinated settlement, by the way, if you go to gitlab.com/TXA, I don't know, Project TXA, a lot of these codes are already open source, and you go to Project DSL. We're working on the trustless dispute specification right now, so that's why it's closed, but we'll open that up pretty soon. If you go to settlement contracts, there's active development going on pretty regularly now. So we updated this, 2 weeks ago, only 3 days ago. So there you go. Now, if you want to settle, what's actually happening behind the scene is you as a trader are making a settlement call function call to initiate the settlement. It should be pretty well documented, so if you want to go look at it, what's happening is what's happening is when the withdraw call is requested somewhere, request funds owed. When this function is called, then it kicks off the settlement process that emits an event and then lets the settlement data providers know, hey, like this, trader now wants to actually settle on this chain. Another thing that I would also like to mention is that every chain that settlement data provider services will have, each chain will have its own instance of asset custody contract and all of the settlement coordination contracts deployed, so that we have parity and functional parity. Now, this is what you would see if you were operating a settlement data provider, which is also open sourced. If you go up, I think it's open source. Or very soon. So if you go here, okay, it's not there yet, but I can tell you that it's getting very close. I can do a sneak peek on the source code, but anyways, so if you're running a settlement data provider, you as a user can either interact with it directly because it's running on your own machine, or you can interact with it through the dashboard that we're creating. You can also access this through like your local host, whatever, right? So this will show you a bunch of information that you might want to know, like, okay, hey, what do I have in collateral in the wallet that is being used for collateralizing or the settlement, right? So for those of you who are not aware, like, there is a white paper out there, please go read it, but I can kind of give you a quick summary. So when you go to here and then go to this and then go to this withdraw, it calls the it calls that like get funds owed, request funds owed or whatever from asset custody. Request funds owed. So you yourself are calling this. Then a quorum of settlement data providers come together, provide data on who owes what to whom, essentially. So when that happens, then it's an automated process of peer-to-peer settlement. But in order to service that, we have to ensure that the settlement data providers are not like colluding, not lying, and all that stuff, right? And that it's providing reasonably good information that leads to a successful settlement. So in order to do that, there has to be some commitment from settlement data providers. So very similar to how the Ethereum POS system works. So it's basically the operator of a settlement data provider is staking a certain amount that can be used as collateral if something goes wrong, right? So it's a deposit in case the data provided is incorrect, there's a dispute or whatever it is. It should be rare. Okay, so this dashboard is going to show system status, staking wallets, so that how much is set aside and service which kind of settlements. You'll be able to see what were the total fees earned from the peer-to-peer settlement process. There will be this sort of thing where you can click and claim, all that stuff, and information that will help you with the totality of what you're running and how much money you're making, or maybe not, I don't know. Right? So that sort of thing. So this is useful tooling. So you can think of it like, hey, like if I'm running like operating my mining gears in like mining pool, a lot of the mining pools have like some sort of information about, hey, like you're making this much or whatever. So there you go. And so that's how that fits into the settlement process. We're working on like the dispute resolution part, which will say, hey, like if information, how do we ensure that the fraud is minimized? 2, how do we ensure that fraud can be automatically detected? And 3, how should we handle cases where fraud does exist? Meaning when the matched trades go out, settlement data providers are recording the matched trades. So like if I were to say, hey, like I want to buy 0.0 whatever ETH, and then I as a trader signs it, right? So this is the payload that I sign, and then what happens is, as soon as that order gets matched, the the signed order along with the executed trade, so there should be 3 signatures, get picked up by the settlement data providers, and the combined history of that allows settlement data providers to create a set of mutual obligations among the traders. Like it's basically telling people, hey, like based on my calculation, you owe this person that money, right? But you also need cross-check, validation, and all that stuff. How do we know that settlement data provider isn't just providing fake data, right? The way in which we combat that is a couple ways. So number 1, the provenance of the trade is proven, because you can easily validate that the payload that was accepted by the exchange is the same one that is being recorded by the settlement data providers. 2, we also add additional information about the trades. Like for example, when exchange executes the trade, it also has to tell the settlement data providers Merkle root of the subtree, Merkle root of the trade, so that we know when the obligations are calculated that the root of the subtree can be used as a basis for like figuring out whether this is correct information. So like there's a lot going on there. Of course you can read the white paper at your leisure. I believe we updated it. You can just go get it at the txa.app, and that should have like updated information about like what the dispute resolution TXA. Sorry, I can't. All right, so if you go to txa.app website and go to project and just read the technical white paper, that should be, I believe that is the latest. Yeah. And the section that we updated is the description about the asset custody contract and how it operates with the rest of the DSL, and the updated state diagram on what exactly is happening when a settlement data provider is operating in conjunction with the rest of the system, and what exactly happens during the settlement process. All of that is in there. So again, like this thing works. Of course, like when you're seeing things happen, it's still being recorded by the STP, but we're running the STP privately, right? But in normal case, that wouldn't happen. In fact, you guys will be running the STP, and that would be the expectation. So a couple more things that I wanted to discuss is, okay, how does so if I stake $200 worth of like stablecoin, can I just settle any amount, right? The answer is no. So if you stake $200 amount, then you're only going to be able to settle up to $200 worth of settlement. So I mean, each time someone wants settlement, there's a calculation that gets done by the SCPs, as well as like the rest of the others as well that says, okay, well, you don't really have a collateral that equals the amount of the settlement volume requested. Meaning, like, you have to really think about the problem at hand here, right? So if you only have $200 and you're, taking a charge of like $1 million settlement, value, then there's something wrong. That's not gonna work, because let's say you lie. Okay, well, it's worth it for you to lie, and it costs you very little, because your collateral deposit as a settlement data provider is only 100. So we don't let people do that. For you to settle $10 million worth, you have to have it up to $10 million, and the minimum bound is something like 1/10 of that. And the reason for it is because if there are about 10 STPs operating in conjunction and providing like cross check, then we want to make sure that all of them can pay if everything goes wrong, right? But like I said, it should be very rare, and we want to make sure that that's not something that inadvertently happens. Like, for example, a big fear in ETH POS was that, what if I just don't have my validator up for a certain period of time? Well, it's not like very severe, but because the cross-chain settlement protocol requires some degree of finality, meaning like, people should be able to withdraw money, then the fraud detection and prevention becomes extra important. If we don't have that, then we might as well not launch this exchange plus settlement layer, right? Like, this settlement layer is worthless if that dispute resolution doesn't exist. So we're working very hard to resolve that, and make sure that gets incorporated into open alpha. But between now and then, people can still interact with Tacen Exchange. Now, Tacen is a partner with Project TXA, and because we believe in this settlement technology so much that I started a company to say, hey, like, let's build a flagship exchange on top of this settlement layer, and that way, we'll build the two things at the same time, right? So we're building the exchange and then settlement layer simultaneously, and then using the exchange to like prove the case that this settlement layer works. People are making money due to like because they're data providers or whatever, right? And the exchanges are making money and whatever. So that's that case that I want to prove. And so cross-chain settlement protocol is going to be, definitely be open sourced, and the specs are open sourced. The settlement data providers are going to be open sourced, as well as the everything that's needed. So if you're an enterprising programmer and you just want to write it in different language, go right ahead. Like, write the settlement data provider in a different language. We're writing in Go right now. You want to write in Rust, go for it. We might even have some dev grants later. Anyways, like, all the stuff that legitimate projects should have, we are doing. Lastly, so what that means is, if you want to also build an exchange on top of the settlement layer, you will be provided with ample information from Project TXA on how to conform to that protocol. And that's it. Like, what is expected from the open source component to the participant exchange, the participant interface, as we would like to call it. So this exchange is a participating interface to the settlement layer, and the cross-chain settlement protocol is going to be the way in which the participant interface and the settlement layer communicates with one another. So this is just one implementation again, or one use case. So Tacen Exchange is a one use case of what can be built on top of the TXA decentralized settlement layer. So now, so people can build their own, they can build like auction market, whatever. But like, what if you wanted to just like, okay, fine, like, I don't have time, like I got $5 million, I need to launch now. Okay, great. Then all you have to do is tell Tacen, hey, I want to launch a hosted instance of this, and Tacen Exchange that is, this is white labelable, so you can just change the logos or whatever, change the color scheme, all that stuff. So it'll be there. I mean, yeah, there's no like user sign up, but in case like someone shares an email or whatever for like alerts, there's user management, there's API access for your partners, there's a P&L graph for the exchange itself. There's a way in which you can monitor the products. You can add new product from the admin dashboard of your white labeled exchange, which is already like cross-chain settlement protocol compliant. So there's the operations wallet. Now this is not the operations wallet as in like hot wallet. This is where where the exchange like receives fees or stuff like that, or signs for the executed trades. And of course like the OPSEC for handling this will be very important, but that's outside the scope of like what Tacen does. So every rule, cybersecurity rules apply, like make sure that they're multi-sig wallet and that sort of thing, right? So this section is very controversial, at least among like cypherpunks. And so here's the thing: if you Tacen white labelable exchange will give the operator all the tools necessary to comply. It's up to the exchange operator to do what they think is the right compliance. So we have plugin for CTR, current transaction reporting, or SARs, suspicious activity, and there's a way to explore that, and you can kind of see what's happening here and decide to submit or not submit or whatever. You can make it automated if you want to. So this is CTR. So there's a blacklist for all of the like wallet addresses that's going to be updated. Of course, a lot of these are also going to be automated. So you can, for example, if you want to use chain analysis as your source for a blacklist, you can, whatever. And there's a VPN way to, block VPN access, IP address, a specific IP address blocks and whatever. So all these dashboard does is it lets you have a complete control over like your own exchange. Because hey, maybe you want the KYC, right? Maybe this is like, hey, I want to set it up so that because of the laws of the land and where I operate out of, I may have to. Then at that point, Tacen also provides a lot of plugins for customizing KYC forms, which is like built into the dashboard, so you can turn off and on certain things, but also to review KYC forms if like the operator of the exchange choose to. So like for example here, Rebecca Nicholas, like you can enter in all the comments about, okay, well, something about the application seems fishy, right? You can then assign different like internal compliance folks. Client management, again, same deal. If you happen to do KYC or if you happen to have like email sign up or whatever, and you want to use that information somehow as an operator of exchange, you can. And here's all the information for your compliance staff. Now, we provide the tool. It doesn't mean that the operator will use it, and that's up to them. Like maybe their compliance needs are different or whatever. So that's the thing. Like so this whole dashboard is being built to service the exchange, and the operator of exchange can have access to that. And so if you're interested in running your own exchange, contact us. And we can get started. We can talk. I mean, licensing is annual, but we can talk about rev share or whatever. But okay, that's not why you guys are here. You guys are here because of this thing, right? So I already kind of covered the basis for all of this. I mean, this is going to be open source. That's going to be available to you, like free of charge, essentially, right? So we want to make sure that like the baseline experience of a settlement data provider operator is, like pretty comfy, like to use that word.